You are now listening to the Ron Paul Radio Network. Radio for the revolution.
What's going on, y'all? You're back. I'm your host, Paco, and you're listening to Occupy the Media. Doing the best we can here today. I hope I'm coming through clear for you. We've actually got a new connection today. We're hooking back up with Skype, and we're just having a little couple issues here, and I just want to make sure that I'm coming in clearly, doing the best I can. So just bear with me here. I'm going to test our sound real quickly and get into some more headlines. One moment. And also, don't forget, the money bomb is here. We had a money bomb yesterday. We're almost at 1 million. We need to get 2.5 million for Ron Paul, so that way we could take over this convention. Okay, so I was testing my sound here. It looks like I'm coming in good. Now, some more headlines. It looks like right here, Ron Paul gets a boost at YAKIMA County GOP convention. That's in Washington State. So not only the good news in Colorado and Minnesota, where we're winning delegates, but also in Washington State, and you wouldn't know that if you watch the TV. It says here, if the race for the Republican nomination is winding down in favor of Mitt Romney, it appears no one told that to Ron Paul supporters here. A coalition of Paul organizers and anti-Romney conservatives came out in force at Saturday's Yakima County Republican Convention and left with the majority of the county's delegates to the state convention. At least 27 of the 44 elected state Republican delegates from Yakima County were on a slate of candidates circulated by the grassroots coalition of Paul supporters before voting took place. Sandy Belzer of Yakima County, coordinator for the Paul campaign and a delegate to the county convention, said Paul supporters held 2 training sessions on Robert's Rules of Order in the lead up to the convention. But we're trying to cheat, though. They always talking about we trying to cheat and run it over, but we're following the rules. Let's see. Romney needs 1,144 delegates to the Republican National Convention to clinch the nomination. But Paul's grassroots supporters, coupled with lingering dissatisfaction among the more conservative supporters of Santorum and Gingrich, could still threaten his chances. State Republicans will vote to send 43 delegates to the National Convention in Tampa when they convene in Tacoma, May 31st to June 2nd. And we'll be looking for some big news out of there. In the next couple of months, there's going to be a lot of conventions going on. You need to check your local town. If you haven't had it yet, we need to get as many delegates as possible so we can win this nomination. Now, 5 of the county's 49 state delegate slots went unfilled at Saturday's convention, which was held at Davis High School. Because the adopted rules for the convention stipulated that it end at 3 p.m., Paul supporters tried earlier in the day to strike the 3 p.m. deadline, but had the motion voted down. Voting for delegates was conducted in a series of rounds, and delegates in the county's first commissioner district had only 16 of their allotted 21 delegates when time ran out. They tried to strike the deadline again at 3 p.m., but were denied a vote by County GOP Chairman Max Goladay, who adjourned the convention. Paul supporters expressed frustration with the convention's abrupt ending, believing they could have won more delegates. Now, of course, any chance with us to win more delegates, to take over the convention, they're going to do the best they can. Now, because of the recent arrest and all the fraud that's coming out on YouTube, all the videos that we have of proof that the GOP is committing fraud, is committing crimes against Ron Paul supporters, against us, trying to take away the nomination. And this is just more evidence that they're going to do whatever they can. Now, we're making it harder for them. You know, this convention probably would have went a lot worse. You know, probably would have been some fraud going on. But because we're so big in numbers, so many of us, they can't deny it. You know, unfortunately, the media is still ignoring us, but that's okay because we're gonna get it. We're gonna get there. Like I said, Ron Paul has already won by changing the discussion. Now we have another headline. Colorado further evidence Ron Paul would change Romney in Tampa. Now this article talks about, this is in the Washington Times, And it talks about an article written by Real Clear Politics, about as mainstream as we're going to get with these two. I haven't seen anything else on MSNBC, CNN, or anything like that in regards to these conventions. Hopefully I will. Let's see here. Here it says the Ron Paul campaign has consistently maintained that it has won far more delegates than is generally reported by the media. Let's see, they got Romney at 600, more than 10 times of Ron Paul. However, Colorado has provided some evidence that the Paul's campaign's demise has been greatly exaggerated. Colorado completed its state's convention yesterday under the headline, Romney Lost Colorado Caucuses Gets More Delegates. Real Clear Politics reported the results this way. GOP has chosen 13 Romney delegates and 6 Santorum delegates. The remaining 17 delegates are unpledged, meaning they are free to choose any Republican candidate for president. And it goes on to say that that's technically accurate, but it begs a question from anyone even minimally curious. Who do those 17 unpledged delegates support? Are they undecided, or do they intend to vote for a specific candidate at the RNC? According to the article, many would-be delegates criticized Romney, and some dejected Santorum fans teamed with Ron Paul supporters to push what they called a conservative unity slate to look for a non-Romney presidential candidate. That is also technically correct, but misleading. Not only did Paul and Santorum supporters push the conservative unity slate, they got its delegates elected to go to the RNC. But no mention of that. I read the article from the Real Clear Politics. No mention really about Ron Paul. No mention about how he took it over. None about the youth coming out. Everything is, we got to keep that perception going. Remember what I told you. That's why we occupied the media. It's all about the perception. They got to keep the perception that Ron Paul can't win. He's just popular. He's just famous, but he's never going to win. He's never going to transfer it to votes. But that's what's happening. And the GOP is running scared. Let's see. Todd King of Lewis, Colorado is one of the elected delegates from that slate. King is a Ron Paul supporter and will vote for Paul for president on the first ballot in Tampa. I asked him how the 17 unpledged delegates break down. This is his statement. 13 unpledged delegates, including me, will vote for Ron Paul on the first ballot. 1 unpledged delegate will vote for Santorum. The remaining 3 unpledged delegates, also known as the delegates at large, are the state GOP chairman, the state GOP national committeeman, and the national committee woman. Those 3 will likely vote for Romney. They usually vote for the front runner so as not to make waves. Of course, because they're told to vote for Romney. That's the script. They better vote for Romney. They're going to lose their job. The GOP going to come down on them. We already know how the game works. King said that the Paul delegates ran unpledged in order to win the votes of Santorum voters. Santorum supporters who understand that the delegates will vote for Paul at the RNC, but would not be legally bound to do so. If anything changes with the Paul or Santorum campaigns between now and August, both camps would have an opportunity to persuade unpledged delegates to change their minds. So basically, what does it break down to? Romney from Colorado, Romney has 13. Ron Paul has 13, and Santorum has 7. So, like I said, we're running right there neck and neck with Romney. Like Ron Paul and Doug Weed's been saying, this has been a 2-man race from the beginning. All of us knew that the other candidates were going to either drop out or have no chance whatsoever. But anyways, we're coming up to our second break. Again, I'm your host, Paco. You're listening to Occupy the Media.
This national poll shows that Ron Paul is the best candidate that stacks up against Obama.
Well, Ron Paul wants to take away my Social Security, so I don't like him.
He's actually the only candidate that has a real plan to save your Social Security. Not only save it, but save the purchasing power of your monthly check.
Prices have been going up a lot lately.
We need to make cuts. Bring our troops home to protect our own shores and borders and rebuild our economy. Every other Republican candidate has proposed massive spending increases, not cuts.
And you say he can beat Obama?
He's got independents and young people coming out like no other candidate. The polls also show that he attracts some Democrats. It's time we start thinking about what kind of world we want to leave for the next generation.
Can make up my own mind, Martin. I don't need a lecture.